Hey nerds, Scatty here with a quick video about Shaman add-ons in Turtle WoW. Turtle WoW is built on the 1.12 core for World of Warcraft before the Burning Crusade expansion pre-patch, and lacks many of the modern elements that people who played after 2006 will be familiar with. Here I am, logged in on my Shaman in Durotar. We have a fresh install, no mods, no add-ons. Now, back on retail, Shaman totems were locked to the global cooldown, so using any totem took the place of using any other spell. So dropping Wind Fury meant you weren't healing for 1.5 seconds. You can see this global cooldown, or GCD, as I cast Water Shield. But notice, on this server, my totems do not gain this global cooldown when I cast my shields. This is because on Turtle, each totem has its own GCD, like you have 4 extra characters. However, the client you run on your computer and the server don't communicate instantly. And by default, when you cast a spell, the client sends that to the server, then waits for the server to confirm that it succeeded before letting you cast again. Now, I'm in Australia with about 200 milliseconds of latency, so you can see it here more than in other places. But it means that when I cast a totem like this, even though none of the others are locked out by the GCD, the client is locked until the server confirms the spell completes. So if I try to cast these 4 totems and a shield quickly, we see this error at the top of the screen. And I haven't dropped all of my totems because of this client-server communication breakdown. Using this macro shows that I can quickly cast them all, but I need to press it multiple times and it will recast existing totems.
I can't cast that yet.
Enter our first third-party add-on today, Nampower. Nampower is a mod, not an add-on, and it works by breaking this client-server communication lock. It effectively tells your client, don't wait for the server to confirm your last cast completed, just keep going, and if the server says no, we'll work it out later. To install it, in the launcher, on the Mods tab, tick the Nampower mod and click Apply. Let it verify your files, and then click Update. Confirm downloading the new .dll file, and then you're all set and up to date. If you don't use the launcher, or if you don't see it in your mod list, the link to the Nampower GitHub page will be in the video description, so check it out there and follow the installation instructions. Now in Durotar once again, we can see the difference, as pressing all of the totem buttons together does not give us that error message about another action being in progress. We can see all of our totems and our shield being cast successfully. We can also use the same macro we used before and see them all cast together with one button press. However, now we have an issue. Sure, we can drop these 4 totems nice and quickly, but what if we don't want to use Strength of Earth, and this fight needs Tremor Totem? What if we're in a caster group and don't need Flame Tongue, Wind Fury, or Strength of Earth? Do you use a different macro? Do you manually bind every totem in your spellbook to a different keybind? Do you modify your macro for every group you join and every different boss fight? I've done all of these, and they all plainly suck eggs. The CallofElements, the second third-party add-on today, though really it is the only add-on since Nampower is a mod. Link in the video description. Now the first thing you'll notice are these 4 buttons on your screen, which align to the 4 elements, though they're in the wrong spots, since Earth and Water are on your right, and Fire and Air are on your left. Mousing over these will give you a pop-up box, letting you drop any totem you choose, and it conveniently shows the duration right here on your screen. Plus its cooldown once it expires if it has one in red. However, this feels a little cluttery, and it still is a bunch of mouse clicking, so we can do better than this. Type COE to open the config page. The first thing I'm going to do is move it to the side and move these buttons to the correct sides and out of the way a little. This is entirely personal preference. Once they're where you want them, use the configure bar drop down, make sure each of them grow in the correct direction. Then you can use the configure totems to remove any you don't want cluttering it up, such as the sentry totem. And then press OK to save the changes. You can also fix totem bar positions to stop them moving around anymore accidentally. In options, you can tweak the scaling and notifications, but I'll be leaving all of these as default for this. Now, what is really going to step up your game, especially for PvE, is the totem sets. I'm not going to go into PvP sets today, and we're going to turn off the auto switch sets in PvP for this video. The other options here, enable totem sets, we're leaving on because we want to use them. Enable forced totem placing means that it will always recast them on press, where by default it will only replace totems that have expired. And finally, totem distance checking needs super WoW to work, but it will replace totems outside of range of you, but keep totems that are still in range. Pure personal preference here. I use distance checking currently, but I have used all variations in the past, and they all have pros and cons. Now, this drop-down says default for the active totem set, which we'll leave. You can set more up, but for this, we just need one. We're going to click here on the configure set, and all of our totem boxes will expand. We're going to set up our most common default totems. Let's go with Flame Tongue, Wind Fury, Strength of Earth, and Mana Spring. These will get red borders around them when we select them. Now we're going to press OK and quickly jump back to the totem bars page and change the anchor button to active set. Now you can see the totem each alignment is set to in the default set. We can close the config and open our macros. We're going to make a new macro. Use the search bar to find a nice icon. And we're going to call it COE. We're going to put in /COE throwset default in here, ensuring we give it a capital D in default to match the config. Drop this on your bar and close the macro window. Now, when we press this macro, it is going to drop the 4 totems we have set up in our default set, like this, instantly. If it is on default settings, it won't replace any of them until they expire. But if you have it on enable forced totem placing, then it will recast them every press. Now let's say we need a tremor totem on this fight instead of strength of earth. Mouse over the earth totem, go to tremor, and then hold control on your keyboard and left click it. This will drop the tremor totem, but it will also give it a red border. The red border moves it to the active set. Now, pressing the COE macro will drop tremor plus the other 3 totems that we have already set up. This means you can quickly change the totems you want to use in your party and effortlessly replace them as the fight goes on or from pool to pool without having 30 different keybinds or a dozen different macros for different totem combinations. When you change zones, including releasing spirit and running back to the instance, we'll reset the active set back to what you originally saved it as. So make sure any changes you make are once again made when you zone in. A quick note, grounding totem is on the characters and the air totem's GCD, so be aware that it will interrupt your casting. Watch as all of the shields go on cooldown as I cast grounding totem. And totemic recall is on the character GCD as well, So recalling your totems will need to wait before casting the next spell, but you can replace your totems immediately. There is much more you can do with the add-on, especially with the PvP sets, but that is way beyond what I'm looking to cover here. Have a play with it yourself if and when you like, but just the functionality we've discussed today will save you many key presses, macros, and binds, and let you focus on what's important, mashing chain heal on your tank. That's all for today. Cheers, nerds.